Your parents think you're dead, as does everyone else. It is the only thing keeping you alive right now.
Noma's gonna kill all of us. Western Holdings would eat this shit up.
Your mom's not gonna rest until we find Zeke's killer, right? Handle it.
After the shock ending of Power Book 2 Go Season 3, Episode 1, we're gonna see the aftermath of how Lauren actually survived and possibly what she can remember and exactly what she told Jenny Sullivan. And I really do think it's crucial that we find out exactly how much Lauren knows and in turn, how much Jenny Sullivan knows, but more importantly, what is Jenny Sullivan's next move with Lauren. Now the rest of the crew including Tariq St Patrick, the Tejadas, Brayden, as well as Effie, and even a few members of the law enforcement are oblivious to the fact Lauren is alive, because Jenny's worked hard to keep it that way. So we're going to see them going about their normal business, a business which needs to start up from scratch after the death of Mecca. We learn how the diamond ring caught Noma's eye, and her and Obi certainly made an introduction, striking fear into Kane, Brayden, and Tariq St Patrick, who know if they don't move her product, they're all dead. We're also going to see Tariq at Western Holdings, and Lorenzo tasking Kane to get information on Zeke's killer, which could very well backfire. Now the title of episode 2 is Need vs Greed, and the synopsis reads, Tariq, Brayden, Effie, and Kane divvy up Noma's product to push. Lorenzo sets a plan in motion to keep Monet off his trail after she orders him to find Zeke's killer. Kane looks into what happened at Mecca's hangar. Now the term need versus greed is one that refers to the distinction between what someone requires versus what they desire beyond the norm. So when we think about need in terms of this group at this moment in time, it's survival. They have to move Noma's product, otherwise they know the consequences. On the other hand, greed is something that's driven by someone who wants power, powder, and respect, especially when we link it to the game that Tariq St Patrick, Effie, Brayden, and the Tejadas are in. So could the title reference how we could see a conflict appearing within the group when it comes to how they work and what their end goals are? Because after all, in this game, everybody is out for themselves, and there are no friends in the street. And Tariq will do very well to remember that, especially after the betrayal he faced in Season 2. But who's acting for need and who's acting on greed? I'm sure this is going to be a topic in the classroom now that Effie and Diana and Tariq, as well as Becca Weston, find themselves in the same class. And it really will be intriguing to hear the different perspectives, especially from Diana and Effie. Now, one thing I think we need to be mindful of when it comes to greed is Kane's subtle manipulation, something he learned when he was mentored by Mecca. The best way to get to Tariq St Patrick is through the rich kid, Brayden Weston. But the rich kid isn't the way to Tariq anymore, it's Effie, and that's something that Kane seems to be exploiting, and no doubt, something he's going to continue to exploit until he gets what he wants.
Noma's gonna kill all of us.
Now what Noma wants is for these guys to move their product, and Tariq says that if they don't move their product, then Noma will kill all of them, who I can only assume he's in conversation with either Effie or Brayden. But this is a hell of a lot of product, more than any of them have seen in their lives before, and so they need to make a plan because Noma and Obi, they don't play games. The introduction of both characters in episode 1 brought a really dark vibe to Power Book 2 Ghost, and even though Obi only had a few words to say, you could feel and sense his presence. He's tough, no nonsense, and he doesn't take too kindly to any form of disrespect. You get the sense that he's not fond of Noma's decision to give Brayden, Kane, and Tariq St Patrick a chance, and in fact, if it were up to him, I'm sure he would have put a bullet in all of them at Mecca's penthouse, which now belongs to Monet Tejada. But on the topic of death, this season really does seem more bloodier than ever before, as we see yet another body dropping, which, correct me if I'm wrong, could be at GTG's old place based on these sofas. Now who this could be, who knows, because we can't get a clear look at the shooter either. But as the crew look on at the mountain of product, we hear Brayden saying they're overlooking a sick market, and how those in Wall Street would eat this product up. And we know this is a business which requires energy that these guys work in at the hedge funds, and it's all about the party life. It really is the perfect market to tap into. Another clue who may get involved is Lucas Weston, because there was a subtle hint about how he was someone who's not afraid to do a line or two from time to time, and he does seem like a bit of a rebel, so bringing in product to Wall Street will bring a number of people into play, and also Trace Weston, because we all know he's not a fan of Tariq St Patrick. But we are going to see Tariq being brought in as an intern at Western Holdings, and as we've seen in the previous 2 seasons, as well as season 6 of Power, he's not afraid to seize the opportunity, especially when it comes to the Westerns. But this time they need to be a bit more smarter and wiser about how they move, because the last thing he needs is to get caught up in yet another drug operation, especially because Course Correct got burned at the end of season 2. And considering Tariq is one strike away from being kicked out of Stansfield, he needs to be more strategic than ever before. So how they move in Wall Street is yet to be seen, but that will be one way. Now Effie's not at Wall Street and neither is Kane, so that is going to be interesting to see how both of those characters play a part in moving their share. But if we were to look at this logically, we know they have the locker boxes on Stansfield's roof, where we see Diana in the official trailer. So Stansfield may yet be another spot. So could we see Effie teaming up with Diana? Because we did hear Lorenzo tell Diana she needs to hustle at the same time.
Full room and board and tuition. You're just gonna have to hustle a little bit for the rest, though.
Now, one thing we do need to bear in mind is if she is working with Effie. I'm not sure if this is going to cause any issues because of how she's with Tariq, but considering Diana may have her eye on Salim, I do think they could work together and keep it strictly business. Now with Kane, we know he's all about the streets, he's a soldier, but based on this as well as some of the previous teasers, it may seem like he may have even set up his own gambling spot, which would be reminiscent of something Dre once did in Power. Now sticking with the Tejadas, let's talk about how Lorenzo says Monet won't rest until the killer is found. In the trailer, he also tells Kane to handle it, but is this about to backfire on Lorenzo? So based on the synopsis, Kane will do as he's told, and he's looking into Zeke's death, and the first location is Mecca's hangar. Now we all know this is where Zeke was shot and killed by Lorenzo at the end of season 2, so could this lead to Kane finding evidence against Lorenzo? Because surely at some point one of these kids will find out the truth. So just to give this some more background and context, in one of the interviews that Mary J did before season 3, she even referenced to how everybody knows who killed Zeke apart from her. So we may very well come across a scenario where as each episode goes by, the kids start to uncover the truth and potentially even use it for their own benefit. We all know Kane wants to be the head of the Tejada organization, and what better way to gain leverage over Lorenzo?
I ain't gonna jump just because you say jump.
Now, oh, believe me, Lorenzo will soon be jumping when Kane says jump, because Lorenzo's made a huge mistake in telling Kane to handle it in terms of finding Zeke's killer, because I am so sure this is going to backfire on Lorenzo sooner or later. Now elsewhere with the Tejadas, Dru seems like he's on demon time, but he also looks beaten and bruised, so at some point in episode 2 we're going to see Dru in a fight, who with is yet to be seen, but this is what we've been waiting for when it comes to Dru's transformation. No distractions and him focus on the game, and now it's time to show what he can do, because the last time we saw him in a similar situation, he pulled back and failed to kill Ev, but will this time be any different, and who's he going after? Now with Lauren, we are going to see a flashback of how Effie supposedly killed her. She looks knocked out while the car plunges into a river, but later waking up in shock. Everybody including her parents believe that she's dead, but few questions do remain. We do have to remember it has been 3 months, and if everybody believes she's dead including her parents, then I would have assumed in that time period there should have been a funeral. The same goes for Zeke, which is why this funeral that we saw in the official trailer could very well be Lorenzo's after all. But Jenny makes it clear that the only thing that's keeping her alive at this moment in time is that everybody believes she's dead. That goes for Detective Whitman and also Cooper Sachs.
I thought you were committed to nailing Lauren Baldwin's killers.
Obviously, I'm committed to this. I'm risking my law license to help you.
Although sooner or later that will have to change, and when Tariq, Effie, Kane and Brayden find out, they are in for the biggest shock of their lives. But what does Lauren remember? Does she remember that it was Brayden who drove her to the woods? And does she remember it was Effie who hit her around with a piece and tried to kill her? One of the hot topics also seems to be, is she Jenny's CI? And a lot of people do believe it is Effie, but I don't think so. Not yet anyway. Jenny Sullivan's CI is certainly Cooper Sachs, because Effie's actually tried to kill Lauren, and I don't see her working with law enforcement at this moment in time. However, that could very well change, and it is one to keep an eye on. I really wouldn't be surprised if Effie turns, especially when she has her back against the wall and realizes Lauren is alive. But that's just my perspective and breakdown on the trailer for Season 3, Episode 2, one which will give us some more background and insight into how Lauren survived, and hopefully we learn about what she remembers and what Jenny Sullivan actually knows. The team seem like they're putting moves in place and Wall Street will be one of them, and in my opinion, Lorenzo will continue to just dig his own grave. So drop all your thoughts and perspectives down below in the comment section, but as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.